back, everybody. Very big, exciting news today. My husband gave me a bunch of songs that he has made, so now we're going to finally have music on the stream. So I'm going to get that started now. Hold on a second. There we go. Mika! How are you? Now let me know if the audio is too... or if the music is too loud. Because I used to have music on my streams back before I'd come back from the break, and it was always a pain in the butt to try to sync. But for those that are new to the channel, my husband and I are building a game, our first commercial game project in the... Hey, Hixie! Welcome back. So for those that are new, my husband and I are building our first commercial game project in C++ using the game engine that we've been working on for like 5 years. And we have music today, Hixie. This is a bunch of Cal's songs that he's made. So let me know if it's too loud. I was telling Mika too. But alright, so since Thursday, what have we done? I redid the staff using my new workflow now that I've learned about the multi-res modifier. And I'm way less happy with it, unfortunately. So the thing about this shader is that you leave all of it up to the shader, so a lot of it is procedural, as far as the way that the lighting is actually going to pick up the surface details and do the black effect that I like. And I'm not, at the moment, happy with how it's picking up the details on the staff. I liked it a lot better before, but the before staff had totally effed UVs, only had a low-res version, and the animations were screwed up. So I think I want to keep this one, but what I'm going to do today is I also made a new hand and animated it, and the animations are slightly out of sync, so I'm going to fix that. I'm also going to recolor the hand because I don't like how pink it turned out. And then I'm going to get the other hand in. Then I'll have like the traditional, I'm a dungeon crawler, here's my weapon in my hand, here's my equipped stuff going on, so I'll be pretty happy about that. Oh, it's almost too quiet? Okay, thanks, Hixie. Okay, how's that? Can you tell that I guess what I don't know is if I turn my headphones up, that doesn't change the volume of the music for you guys, does it? Hold on, I'm gonna turn them up really, really loud. Does that change the audio for you guys, or is it just me? I'm turning it right down because that's distracting. It's kind of a pain. If there's like a good app or plugin or something for keeping audio politely in the background, let me know. Okay, if this is now 100%, I would go to 70%. Okay, so it's at like 70, so I'm gonna go. It's probably just acting like it's too loud. Okay, let me go down a little bit. Okay, how's this? Okay. Alright, so I'm going. Hey, Polly Josie, welcome back. We're trying to get the music synced today. Alright, so I'm gonna go back into Substance Painter. I'll just keep looking back at the chat to see if you guys can tell me how the volume's doing. I'll turn it down a little bit more. Alright. So I'm pretty sure I left off on Thursday exactly here. No background feeling. Okay, perfect. Oh, Bali just says viewers can turn on their own music. They can, but I want to get like multiple streams of crisscrossing here because this is all of Cal's music. So I want to show it off because he has his own YouTube channel that would be very cool for people to start listening to. But also it's distracting. So I'm trying to find a nice balance with streaming where I can actually get stuff done and chat, and I'm thinking music will help me once I get to the point where I'm not paying attention to it being the right volume. We'll see. But last where I left off, I think on Thursday, was literally exactly here, except it wasn't here. I think I was adding veins, trying to find the right generator for veins for masking, but so much has happened actually between Thursday and now. I've just ended up back here. So I redid the animations for the hands like 6 times and the staff. Figured out a nice workflow finally in Blender. Because one thing that always gets me is, yeah, we were even talking about this on Thursday too, but the engine being in left-handed mode and Blender being in right-handed coordinates, it is so difficult to try to export things correctly. But I think I've landed on something that will work. Alrighty. How are your guys' projects going?
This activity of naming is the activity of reason.
I'm just going to find a layer here. So one thing that I've really found useful for Substance Painter is to combine layers into groups, and then you can like stack your masks. It's really useful because here what I want to do is I want to get rid of the vein coloring where there aren't any veins. So I'm going to make it a white mask. And then just kind of gently wipe away where I don't want. Shadows are so hard. Way to go, Hixie. Mika says instead they just have the coordinate system match in Blender. Yeah, you know, that would have saved a lot of time. Because we could have chosen. We just chose left-handed. Although, left-handed just feels better. Chili's, it's been a while. How are you? Are you doing, Hixie, are you doing directional shadows or point shadows too? I swear to God, I have written the shader and just like how I do mapping for point shadows and directional mapping shadows at least 5 times, like starting from scratch and doing it over. Oh, Mika says make sure you're in top chat instead of live chat. No, make sure I'm in live chat instead of top chat. Thank you, Mika. I don't know how you could tell that I was in top chat, but I certainly was. Thank you. Hixie, have you ever implemented cascaded shadow maps? I have gotten close, but I've never actually like shipped it in the engine. I've experimented with it a lot, but it's just so complicated. So instead I just I try to get really creative with the way that I cap shadows so they don't get super distorted at low res. I think what I want to do is I want to make the veins be light blue and dark blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another layer here. Actually, I'm going to add a group just for the veins. Because what this is actually, I suppose this... Yeah, so this is a mask that takes away. All it does is it blocks out stuff here and here. So what I want to do is actually want to grab this vein mask, but that's generated. So I'm going to have to create a group, and then I copy the mask. I paste it into the group mask. Then I should be able to add another color here. Yeah, that's just blue. And what I'm doing here with unclicking these, I'm just getting rid of the color channels that I don't want to influence. I don't want this layered influence. So I add blue. Then I can add another generator. I wish there was a job for just... Oh, I actually want to add the generator to the mask. Add black mask, add generator. I wish there was a job for just making generators in Substance Painter. Oh, I'm sorry, Mika. Thank you. Yeah, because I didn't see a lot of my messages last stream, so I assumed you were on top chat because YouTube nerfed me since... Yeah, I've been on top chat this entire time. I'm now on live chat. And Hixie says, not yet, mostly needed shadows and SSAO, so my stuff showed depth better when being all the same gray. I've never done screen space ambient occlusion. I have a lot of screen space doohickeys going on right now, and really, if you guys ever actually look at the renderer, it's very inefficient because I'm doing forward rendering, and I'm just basically like, oh, I discovered how to do post-process effects like rendering to an off-screen shadow or off-screen texture. So I'm just gonna do that 7 times, and every time I need a new effect, I'm just gonna do it again. In screen space, it's like, I mean, it works fine on my potato laptop, so that's all that I need to worry about. But it is not efficient the way I do it. But one thing I live by is that things are good enough if they pass your tests, and don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Okay, I get triggered just hearing the word render graph with passes. We have passes, but we do not have a render graph. SSAO is a must-have. It makes everything look so much better. I'd argue that it's better than shadow maps. Yeah. Yeah, I think that I'm not too worried about the algorithm of implementing SSAO, but it's just one more very taxing thing comparatively that I haven't added to the engine. One day I will. But I agree, it would make things look really cool. I think it's one of the most powerful effects for making things look good, honestly. But I have never made a configurable material system. And if you guys have, I would love to see them. It seems to be the hardest challenge for graphics programmers. I've read so much documentation and so many tutorials on it, but I've just never done it. I've only ever had like a very specialized material, just one, or in my previous Vulkan render, I had a PBR material, just like a stock PBR material, and then a toon shader, and this one I just have the toon shader that I've been working on. But it's so hard to think about, like, okay, first of all, where do you even start? What are the user inputs for using a configurable material system? Is it going to be like a node-based editor? And if so, what would the nodes be? And then how do you go from, like, assuming you go from nodes, and then the nodes can, like, you can auto-compile the nodes into GLSL or SPIRV or something, but then how do you go from SPIRV into the C++ actually, like, defining the descriptor sets? It's just so complicated, and so I think I could, if I spent like a couple of months, I could actually get something like that going. But then how do you actually make it optimized instead of having 500 shaders or passes that do all the same thing? How would you know to combine them into a single pass? Material systems are beyond me, but I've always wanted to do one. Yeah, that'd be so handy to have. I think I have like 10 different graphics pipelines for various different materials. Yeah. Same. Okay, so ambient occlusion isn't actually the one I want here. I'm trying to just get like a nice... Maybe light is. Just trying to get a nice little bit of variation here on the veins. Actually, that looks kind of nice. Okay. I'm gonna come back here and erase here. Because I don't want... Is that the one? Oh no, it's this one. Go back here to erase. Wherever I don't want the blue. And then what I did here, if you can see, I just added way too much. This is where I didn't clean up the blue last time. This is, I had kind of pink. I think this was an ambient occlusion generator for the pink, and it's just way too pink. It looks like a cotton candy arm. Because it's your game, so just do it directly in shaders. You are going to be a material designer. Yeah. But the thing is it's a fun challenge. It would be a cool thing to build a nice, optimized, node-based material editor. I can't remember if I've ever told you guys this, but the most fun thing that I've ever done in the whole category of game development was fiddling around with materials in Substance Designer. It was so fun. Just seeing like, oh, if I add a noise mask, then it makes the height channel, like all of a sudden my rocks pop out in a random scattered way. It was so fun. And it was just the juiciest feeling on planet Earth. One thing we talk about a lot is that the fun part about game dev is that you can jump around when you get bored of something. I'm starting to get really bored of working on the scene and I want to get back to coding. But I don't want to quite do that until I actually have like the scene good enough that it makes me feel empowered to keep going on hard days. It's not quite there yet. It's exciting to look at, but it's not, the vision isn't there, so I don't want to quit yet. But I am getting bored. Hixie, what resolution are you using for your shadow maps? This is what I'm looking at. Just want a little bit of just a little bit of depth to the skin, so it's just not completely flat. But with this look, I don't want to do too, with the shader, I don't want to do too much because then it'll start to look like it has its own form. I don't want the shader for the textures to give any form because I really want that toon look. So because 1024 by 1024. I think we're at, let's pull up the engine for a minute. My shadows are really, they always leave something to be desired.
They're trying to sort it out by creating a certain token.
Where are we at right now?
There's some corresponding reality.
Yeah, 1024 by, so this scene is really big and it looks okay right now. The extent's like, oh, I can't remember actually what the extent is. I think it's like 100 by 100 by 100 cube, but when they're square it looks okay, but then look. It's not horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So this is a directional light. And then the point lights, I mean, they have their own set of problems, but they're also very jaggy. And I swear to God, I've implemented every single algorithm for trying to save cascaded shadow maps. To try to get these to look better, they just look like crap. As a test for local Quen 3.8, I ran it overnight to remove point light shadows since it is more or less the same in all the machines. What's Quen 3.8? Rocking a 4K map, Hixie? Oh god. Okay, so in Diligent, it does this really nice thing where you can, it shows you how many pages you've allocated for your memory, both device local and host visible. But check this out. This is what happens if I rock a 4K map. It feels so good. Just try setting it to 1024 by 1024, and then you'll just cry. So it's like, oh my god, I'm just a beast at implementing shadows, because look at how good that looks at 4K. Look at that. No aliasing at all. It's just beautiful. But then check this out. You know, that's actually not... That's not so bad. It's only at 608 megs, but watch this. So before I think I had already mentioned this on stream one time, but I was not lazily allocating my memory. Holy cow. What is that, 400 megs for every point light? I mean, I guess that makes sense at 4K, but look at this. But anyway, I wasn't lazily allocating them. I fixed that within the last 3 or 4 months, but it would just look at your max point lights, which are here. Then it would allocate that much GPU memory. Where'd it go? They look so good at 4K. Maybe, Hixie, we just have to wait. Your 4K map runs on your Steam Deck? Your engine is much better than mine. I guess I've never tried on the Steam Deck, but there's no way that my potato laptop could handle even like 3 point lights with 4K shadows. That's amazing. Did you do something clever like all of your lights are somehow like what's the word? Atlas into the same 4K map, or do you have a 4K map each? Because what we were looking at there was a 4K map for every one of the 6 faces of the cube, and it looks so good, but I can't handle it. Yeah, thank you. We're not quite there yet. We're actually a ways out. But yeah, I definitely will. Thank you. That's a wonderful offer. Okay, so I want that to be a little bit faded here. Okay, what? Yeah, that's awesome though. Does it? I think so. The most fun I've ever had was working as Substance Designer. But the most excited I've ever felt was the first time that I got a directional shadow to actually work. It was so exciting. I think that looks okay. Okay, so we're gonna save this time. Because I already did this, I just forgot to save my substance file. So when I wanted to change it to be less pink, I couldn't. Okay, so then we knew this is what I do to get my shader to pick up my normals. I come in here and I clear out all the channels except for my normal channel, and then I pull in the world space normals, which of course screws up Substance Painter because Substance Painter is expected to tangent space normals, but it does not screw up my engine. Okay, then we want normal base color. That's so smart, Mika. You only have one son unless you're making a Star Wars game on Tatooine. Yeah. Speaking of planets, I did not start. Okay, hold on. I wrote it down. I gotta remember which one it was. Oh, I can't. So, Mika, I made a note of the Heinlein book that was not Stranger to Strange Land that you recommended, but now it's on my phone and I can't access it. Oh, half spacesuit will travel. That's what it was, wasn't it? I'm cresting on getting bored of Um, okay, apparently I'm already there because I've forgotten what the heck I was just listening to this morning. So lastly, I'm on book 3, The Signs of a Unicorn, but I'm getting bored of it. And so I'm ready to pick up a Heinlein. Yep, have a spacesuit. Yep, that's the one. Okay, so I'm gonna try 1024 for now. I think I can probably go down to 512, but for now I'm gonna try 1024. And then grab them and bring them over here. Oh yeah, look, that's way more subdued. I like lighthearted books though. Or maybe I do. I guess I think I do in spirit. I don't know the last time I've read a lighthearted book, but I'm sure I will like it. I'm a very lighthearted person. Okay. I think this is going to be way better for the hand. We'll see. Yeah, that's much better. Let's see how we do with the... Although we really do need fingernails. This is what I mean. I really want the light to pick up more. Hey, Glandable, welcome back. Like my books to be gritty and graphic. I do end up generally reading books that are on the grittier and graphic side, but I don't do that on purpose. I think Dungeon Crawler Carl. There you go. That's a very lighthearted book. Generally. Kinda. At least it has lighthearted. It's funnier and more lighthearted than most books that I read. And I love Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm sure I've geeked out about. That was my first recent new fantasy series, or I don't know if you call it that, but new book series that I really, really liked. I kind of the excitement has kind of died down a little bit, but I'm sure it'll be back. What the hell is... Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's rotate just a little. I want to see if the... Oh! I have two staffs up here. Do you see this? Oh my god, you guys, why? Why? Okay, now the question is I think I know the answer, unfortunately. This sucks. Okay, do I have 2 staffs? Because when I exported my hand mesh, it also exported the staff with it. So this... Okay, well, we can just see this really quick. So let's go here. I should not be having 2 staffs. Oh, Hixie's reading that right now. It's so good. I really, really enjoyed it. On book 3. I read them all in one go, so I can't remember the differences of the books. Is 3 the Iron Tangle? Gladwell says I should get some global illumination, white balancing, and exposure adaptation shaders to get that contrast fixed. The contrast of the staff, possibly, but I'm probably not, actually definitely not going to Glendable, just because this is almost exactly what I want it to look like. But the only problem is what I was telling Hixie and Mika when the stream started was I don't have a lot of control over where the light hits, and so when it hits just right, like, you see this hill? That is exactly what I want the shader to look like. But this one, no, because I want there to be more black detail here. And so, but it's like I only have one, I don't have that much control really over where the light goes. So I can add more lights, but that starts to get unnatural. Like Mika was saying, you only have one sun, typically. But I'll show you, like, could not be happier, extremely thrilled with how the tree looks and how the things were looking, except for the staff I'm not happy with. I don't like how that turned out. because the way the light's hitting it is subpar. But I probably won't. Not for actually. I know I won't make up for this game or get global illumination or white balancing or exposure adaptation, just because it would take it's too much of a side quest. I think the name of the game these days is just eliminating side quests. Okay, but speaking of side quests, okay, so this is interesting. This staff is actually right here. So I think the hand has. Okay, so if I unparent and delete. Oh. Whoa. What the hell is going on? Okay, well, we can do this another way. If I just don't place the staff here, what do we see? And Hixie says almost needs to add in a key light. What's a key light? I know. Oh, and Gladwell says that's a topology problem. Change where the vertexes are and the vertices are in the normal map. Yeah. The problem, this is a kind of a bummer, but when I'm in Blender, what I see is, let's hide the armature here. I don't know if I know how to hide just the armature. Oh, nice. Okay, so what I see in Blender is, even if we bump this up, it's that, and that's really hard to translate to like what it's gonna look like in the game. And I wish I could have a bridge between what it looks like in Blender and what it's gonna look like in the game. Even if I do like, okay, so say I set up a light. Just a little closer, but the light isn't my toon shader, and it's not picking up world space normal, so I just kind of have to guess. Mika says, depends on your goals. You can either have fun or you can ship the game. Mika spent a whole week just having fun and learning how compute shaders work. It was a lot of fun, but it made for yeah, I don't know how compute shaders work. I've never actually done them. And Hixie says, it's like a second directional light that goes in close to the opposite direction of the standard sun directional. When we use to light condos for real estate apps, we would often give us a soft blue. Oh, okay. I had one. I did kind of have one the other day. I did have a second directional light. And it can. So let's do like a red. Can get some cool stuff with it. I'm confident that I can, if I really buckle down, I can come up with a combination of lights that work, but in the interest of not being side quested, I need to figure out which mesh actually has my staffs. Does my staff mesh have two staffs, or does my hand mesh have a staff in it? I'm actually going to the editor camera. I'm really happy. Okay, do you see that? Why can't I just always have the light looking like here? You know, it was a very short-sighted to spend so much time putting detail into the back of the hand, when unfortunately I'm only ever going to see the front of the hand. I'm only ever going to see this, but staff section. Yeah, I wonder where that staff's coming from. Okay, so that means that unfortunately the staff mesh has two staffs in it, which is harder to debug. Okay, so Now let's just be 100% sure and get rid of the hand. Oh, but I can't parent. Let's parent it to the camera then. Okay, then so we should probably just look at our camera. Okay, this why? I wonder, maybe I'll just leave it in as an Easter egg. No, I'm going for potato laptop. I really can't afford any extra staffs laying around. Okay, well, I'm still at the point with my skills in Blender where, with animation specifically, and exporting actions, that I feel like it's a glass cannon and I never want to touch my animations after I've gotten them out. But I am getting a little bit more practiced in my workflow, so maybe it will work out today. So there's only one mesh in the scene. Or there's only one staff here. So what happens if I just, okay, let's make sure that the levels viewport is down to 1. And then I go to here and I right click and I export FBX into staff to staff selected objects. Don't want to apply modifiers. Okay. And that's exactly what I did, so I shouldn't expect other results, but let's just look. Oh, but see, that's not good. That's way too small. Ugh. Mika says, I can implement snapping objects to the armature bones, and then you can snap stuff to the... Oh, okay. So I did that actually, Mika. Oh, you mean in the engine. Is that what you mean? That actually might be a side quest worth worth doing. Is that what you mean, Mika, in the engine? Because oh, I think we're just still exporting the FBX. But the way that I've been doing that is I don't independently animate in the engine. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. We don't. I'm trying to think about how I would even do that because we don't expose. Yeah, okay. I don't. That would be so nice to have, but it would also be so hard. So right now, what Mika's suggesting is we have our staff, and then we have our hand. And let's say that actually both of their origins. So origin, let's color these so we can color code them. Okay, so the origin of the hand is like right here. for the mesh, and the origin of the staff is also right here. And we do have a parent-child relationship, but the parent-child relationship just says, so entity transform equals more or less parent entity transform. So the child's the staff here. That's just, and the transform cares about the origin of the object. So if the hand is to move, if I were to translate the object to the left, to the right, then the origin is going to move, so the staff is going to move. But when the mesh is animating, the bones are moving inside of it. Like this. They're going over here, but the origin is not moving at all. And I know Unity does this, and it would help me so much to have, because when the arm is animating, the origin is still staying right here, so my staff doesn't animate with the arm. And the reason it's actually moving with the arm now is because I have, in Blender, I snapped the staff. I parented the bone. I put a little bone right here in the arm, and then I put a little bone right here in the staff. And I have a parent-child relationship with the bones in Blender. And then when the hand moves, then the staff bone moves as well, and then I can bake that animation into the staff action. But what would that even entail in Blender? Or in the engine? I want this feature so badly, because I'm gonna have so many. Oh, Mika, I think I have to. I'm gonna have so many weapons snapping to hands. Oh, frig. This is gonna be a big one. Is it easy, Mika? Is there an easy way to do it? Because we have skeletal animation data. I'm going to see how Cal did the hierarchy stuff here. Fair value take community. Okay. So, I mean, theoretically, somewhere in the engine, we do know the position of each bone. But it's deep in the animation file. And we surface it in the subsystem for skeletal animation. We surface the position so that we can do our math. Let's look at, where is that? That's in... You didn't feel it was that hard several months ago, I barely remember. I feel like it took one evening? Polly Joseph says the hand is nice, but maybe skip it until V1.5. Thanks, Polly Joseph. Yeah, we're gonna need the hand. And I'm pretty sure we do need this feature, so I think it's side quest time. So Mika, okay. So we would first, if we have a hierarchy situation, like, so the staff is parented to the hand transform. Then in this case, the entity transform for the staff is going to be at like 0, 0, 0 because it's local to the parent. And if I were to move the staff away from the parent, it would be at like x equals 5, 0, 0. And then we want to then, on top of that, we want to have one more transformation. Based on the position of a given bone, so we would need to further translate what point the origin. That wouldn't work. Does it need to be bone based, Mika? Because digging the bones out of the skeletal animation data seems like a real pain in the butt. Did this last year. Okay, we can get the rig and we can get the bone transform. So we have the bone data. But if we're looking at the scene, we don't, it's certainly not exposed here. So what would I want it to look like? I would want it to look like Mika, did you do your snapping based on from bone to bone? Or did you do it from origin of object A to bone of object B? Or did you do it just arbitrary empty to arbitrary empty? Because that seems like maybe the route I want to go. Because we could add like a oh, but no, of course it has it has to go, has to be tied to the bone because the bone is the only thing that's going to be animated. Object to bone with offset and rotation. Thanks. Yeah, because even if we put an empty here, that's exactly what we're doing with the hierarchy today, and we want it to be tied to the bone data. So, because actually, I could just change, but I was thinking that this wouldn't work in this case because my origin is down here, but my origin doesn't have to be down here. It could be right here. So we need to 8 hours? Wow, okay. I'm starting down this road, you guys. I think this is a valid side quest. In fact, because in every situation through all we're gonna have like God help us, we're gonna have 40 weapons. And so if I'm always animated, that's gonna be one of the first things you see in the scene in the game is holding your weapons. So having to individually bake the animations for every single weapon versus I snap the weapon to the animation. Okay, so now I'm doing it. Okay, so I have to figure out how do I extract. Okay, we can get, so requirements. Snap origin of object to bone by name. Then, yeah, so the translation layer would first go. First, we want to parent transformation. Then you have local transformation. And then you have snapped transformation. So what are we going to need? We're going to need okay, so let's think about this. If we go to animator, So we wouldn't necessarily have an animation for the staff anymore. What we would need to do is reference the skinned mesh that we want to extract the bone out of. Have okay, but who is the consumer? We will it always expose function to I need to remember how this data is stored. Okay. Bones data is itself an asset. 301 assertions and okay, you're giving me hope, Mika. Okay, so bone data gives you a bone name and the index. Okay, and then the transforms. And what we're gonna have a function in skeletal animation calculator. Is that itself an animation? No. It's going to just greedily always snap to the position of the bone, but how will it get what's the API look like for that? Because it's supposed to function to I think I could do it at only 140 lines of code. You could do math properly, all 60 lines were added. Oh, yeah. 301 minus 241 is in fact 60. Okay, so skinned mesh. So what I'm trying to think about what I want the interface to look like because oops. So the parent here is how we parent it to an entity. And I don't think it's an entity level concept, but there is no component that really applies here. Static, because the transform is all handled by the entity. And it won't have a skinned mesh in this because we wouldn't need it to have its own skinned mesh. We're just talking about, well, maybe it is an entity level concept. How general would this be? And do I even need to? Okay, let me start writing these questions down. Okay. Insert. Do I need to parent to the skin mesh transform if I am parenting to the bone transform? No, I don't, because if something is at, say that this just happens to be 0, 0, 0, and then it gets animated to in world space 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, then the transform's still 0, 0, 0. This transform, let's just say, is still at 0, 0, 0. So then we just need to, we don't need to parent it. Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Because in this case where the hand hasn't moved, we can just say, yeah, apply the animation, the bone transform, and then you get a +1 to your Y. But that's not if the hand itself moves. So yeah, the answer there is actually yes, we do. Skin mesh and decal for every bone. Hi, I'm new. Bang bang X Pates. Hi, welcome to the stream. Mika just broke rule number 1, which is no side missions. I'm kidding. So what I was trying to do is was trying to figure out why I have 2 staffs in my scene. Actually, I don't even think I'm set up to show you that my 2 staffs at the moment. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, I actually am. So if we go to the editor camera, all right, there are just horrifically 2 staffs here. It is some artifact of trying to bake animations, I think. And I think it baked the entire mesh data again. Baking is still relatively new to me. So then Mika suggested, why don't I, instead of baking the animation, so right now what I do when I want to animate the staff is that in Blender I parent the staff to the hand and then move the hand and the staff comes too, and then I bake the animations from the visual keys into the staff armature. And then Mika suggested, well, why don't you do parent instead of parenting to the mesh and then like baking the animation, just parent to the bone, and so then you'll come along for the ride, which is so smart and a very valid side mission. So now I'm just thinking about how I would do that. So the answer is yes, I do need yes to parent to the skin mesh, because sure, animation is one thing, but then there's the whole moving of the arm too. So that's fine. That just this will work. Then here. So I think I do expose another property in the entity, which I've actually never done before. This is Cal's baby, but at least he'll be there. He could be my wings. I'll take a wild stab at it. So just thinking here. Optional entity to parent. Yeah, it's optional for the parent anyway. Just make an optional an optional bone name? Probably not. That sucks. But okay, let's start naive first. So possible approach. Yeah, you're right, Mika. It would genuinely help to ship the game because it would simplify authoring weapon assets. Yes, it would. And I'm going to make so many weapon assets, and I'm not going to want to bake the animations for every single one. And not having to do any animations for the weapons would tremendously improve my time. Okay, so add an optional around to entity. I'm so used to using Markdown that I hit it with one of those with a backtick. I'm keeping it. I don't know why I'm doing this in Paint. I'm a very chaotic person tonight. I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. I'm going to stand by myself. I do my best thinking in Paint and my best mock-ups in Paint. And actually, usually I use Photoshop. No, I would love a code snippet, Mika. That would be helpful. I don't think the challenge so much will lie in doing the math, because I know that I'm going to have to do the math. Oh, wrong repo. But yes, I would love a snippet. So the math is going to happen here in my skeletal animation calculator. And this is where we're actually applying the bone offsets and doing all of that math per vertex, but because we do it CPU side. So I'm just going to also then fetch the bone, the reference bone. I think I'm gonna do it in here. But every tick of the animation, yeah, because this is tied to the animation starting and finishing and interpolation data and all of that. So I'm going to then get the referenced entity and move its transform by the amount that the bone is moving here. And so that part's okay. And the part that I'm really thinking through right now is just the interface. And I don't know how much of that will be transferable from your engine to mine, but absolutely it would be helpful to see. So add an optional param to entity. For now, that can be phone name, because if we look at our, oops, just gonna close this one for now. So now we're back in the engine. Yeah. So in Blender, we would name the bone that we want to parent to. Give it some kind of human readable name. If we'll export that, we can import that. And then what journey does bones data go on again? Oops. Hold on a minute. Okay. Tracing the chain to refresh my memory from last June. This is going to be very, very worth it. I've actually run into this problem very many times before. So just remember my textures are still 4K, so I'm gonna get rid of those. Okay. What I'm trying to suss out right now is how do we go from entity transform? How do we get the bone transform and the entity transform in the same place? And I believe those are all local. Oh, animate, that's the one I need. Oh, okay. Right here. So in calculate bone matrices, we do have the entity, but this is going to be the skinned mesh, which is not. Ugh. So we. That's nasty. So what this does is it iterates through each skinned mesh. TomTom says, welcome to the stream, by the way. I remember screwing around with Skeletal Animation Modeler. I tried to copy Blender with allowing up to 3 to 4 bones to manipulate the mesh with weighting. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big pain in the butt. What we're trying to do now is parent a different mesh to a specific bone. So, okay, so what do we know for sure? Move this over here. Not a whole lot. We know that entity let's call this mesh. You know, or maybe I make a new component. That is an option. That just takes in the skinned mesh and the bone name. That's that. I like that better, I think. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this possible approach. Bone snapper is a really metal name for a component, so we call it bone snapper. And parameters. So it will already be attached to an entity by lieu of it being a component. So it will need ref to skinned mesh. It will need bone name because we don't have any way. I don't think at component creation time to enumerate the bones in the mesh. To like pick one by reference, for example. Maybe we do bone ref. Then that entity runs each frame and updates. That component runs each frame and well, Cipher do. Hold on, I'm gonna go muted for a while. Okay, I like this approach. And then this plays well with animations because if the bone isn't, if the animation isn't playing, then the bone transform won't move. Be nice to be able to do like an is dirty check. I might have to add that. Okay. So then we wouldn't be doing it in the skeletal animation subsystem. Or maybe we would just deal with that new component because it is related to it. Well, for now, let's change this around. Oh, I don't think I need you. So my approach is going to be, I'm going to make a new component. I'm going to call it Bone Snapper. And the Bone Snapper is going to take as a reference the skinned mesh component of another entity and the name of a bone, or if I can cleverly dig it up, a reference to a bone. But that information is just buried very deeply in the data, so it won't be easy to suss out. But then every frame, the subsystem that I'm going to create for the component will then see if any bone transformations have taken place. And if they do, they're going to offset the entities transform by that transform. Okay, Mika, with that being said, so what you do with your, okay, so you do it as part of a skinned mesh update? Do you require a skinned mesh for both entities? So if there's an animation for global transform cache, socketed. This is really clean, Mika. This looks very nice. Skeletal mesh skin mesh is a map of socketed nodes of 3D nodes to the bone name. We iterate through the sockets, finding the bone by name, finding the global transform matrix from the bone, and then decompose the matrix to position, rotation, scale. Apply to the 3D node. I lied on the stream about adding the offset. I just moved the origin of the origin on the object in Blender. Oh. You find your joint, and then you get the glow. Okay. How do you assign the socketed node or the joint to the skin mesh, Mika? That's the part. Because I mean, it seems like a lot to create a new component for this, but I can't think of a graceful way to do that. So I'm going to start down the new component route here. Bone snapper. And it's supposed to, yeah, but I'm curious. Oh, unless you mean literally right here, and I'm just too smooth brain to see it. But like, I'm curious where. So if skin mesh is your hand in this example, where and how in the code do you actually assign do the snapping? Because this part I'm okay with. What I'm confused, or not confused on, but what I'm doubting myself on is the cleanest way to actually get this in here. So this will be a graphics component. So let's look for skinned. Oh, where are you? What do we need to make a component? I don't think we need anything special if I'm remembering, but I'm going to get the wireframe renderer here. Bone snapper. 2024. It's almost 2027. We'll do our pragmas. I know I need an entity, but I don't think I need it. Okay, so mesh, socketed nodes, weapon, mesh, get ID, stood pair. Okay. That's very elegant. Okay, so namespace NC. I don't think we want to go in the graphics namespace, not for components here. Okay, how do you disable this crap? I don't want it. I want to think about what I'm doing. It's like voodoo intelligence. Get out of here. Ugh. Okay, so we know we're gonna want name. Oh, nice job, Mika. So TomTom says, I think I went with the T-pose and waiting so that manipulating the bones manipulates the mesh. Thanks, TomTom. Yep, we have skeletal animation going already. And I did exactly that same approach. There's a guy named OGL Dev, and he had a really, really cool tutorial for OpenGL skeletal animation that I liberally borrowed from, but like we have just exactly as you're describing it, the mesh is in a T-pose, and then as each vertex of the mesh is then has 4 bone influences, and then we every single frame we'll figure out where the bone is based on like its parent hierarchy all the way up, and then based on that we'll average out the 4 influences, and then that's where the vertex position moves each frame. So we have that, but what I'm trying to figure out at this exact moment is if I have a cube and I want to then parent it to the skeleton's pinky knuckle, what would that actually look like? And what I think it's going to, like API wise, and I think what I want it to look like is I want to add a new bone snapper component here, and then bone snapper will call for a skinned mesh, because only skinned meshes have bones. So I would reference a skelly. And then I would give it the name of the bone, and then the origin of my cube is going to then snap to the pinky. Yeah, OGL Dev is the greatest. Megatron says, oh, and Miko, congrats on finding the bug. My family knew about 911 before it happened. 9/11. Wow. And welcome to the stream, Megatron. Future Untold, welcome to the stream. Well, I'm a music composer interested in making my own women's boxing game simulator. I'm glad I found your channel. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you found it too. That's a serious Megatron. I hope you have had good tidings since then. Are you making a VR boxing simulator? I think that would be really cool. Yeah, so I think that's the approach here. Look what happens if you get into, we have a trigger. I think it's still working, we'll see. So if this, yeah, if you get into his hitbox, the different animation plays. And you can turn off the animation. This is the stupid, do you see how he goes sideways? This is the right-handed coordinate system, left-handed coordinate system crap, and all the stupid rotating I have to do to compensate for it. Okay, so overstring bow name, and then we don't need it to actually be a reference. Oh no, okay, but we want to reference it specifically the skin mesh, so actually we do want a reference there, because the entity itself is just a handle that's skin to mesh. Well, or maybe, no, let's stick with the end. I think that's what we do everywhere else, is we actually just pass the entity. Why are you undefined? Wet Bunghole says, how much for you to walk on a loaf of bread? I would walk on a loaf of bread for $500 on camera right now. I myself don't understand coding, I guess, after many years of being in a don't compute. Well, I myself don't understand music creation in any way, so there you go. I'm Gingerbread. Welcome to the stream. Did you make those XYZ axis gizmos yourself? Cal did it. I don't remember if he did not make them himself. Let's find out. Oh, it's a couple here. Okay, it's a is it an GUI thing? That seems unlikely. Let's see. Yeah, it is an GUI feature. I think. GUI's mode. Let's look it up. Okay, so there's a library you can pull in called imguismo, and it gives you all this. I will link it in chat. Are you guys able to see my links and I'm just not able to see yours? Is that how that works? Let me know if you see that link. I just sent one. Okay. But you're not going to even run because nothing's referencing you yet, so... Stupid. Alright, then... Let's add a subsystem here. I really don't think I need anything else here for now. You can see, like, okay. Oh, Future Untold says, to answer your question, I think VR would be cool, but I'm going for the more undisputed gameplay style. Is it going to be keyboard and mouse or controller? Or using the, what was that Xbox virtual reality AR Connect? Is that what it was? Connect? You should do it in the Connect. I had one summer where I got really into boxing. It was super fun, but boxing is expensive. Now I do not box anymore. Okay, so now we want to then What else? Do we need anything else here? I don't. Yeah, we do. Okay, let's skeletal. Let's try wireframe render. Let's just try trace you into how you get actually registered as a component here. Okay. Bone snapper. ID is 15. Benjamin Roy Kimball. Welcome to the stream. That connect. I never had one, but I always thought they were really cool technology. Update transforms. I think we can do it in here, but we might have to do it afterwards. Future Untold, if you're asking me if I would like to help you build this game, no thank you. I am up to my elbows, but I do have a Discord and I'm trying to make it such that if people are looking for collaborators, they're welcome to go there and try to find some. Okay. Okay, here we have to register. Yeah, okay. Register. Oh, I don't like this. This is really frustrating to me, and I don't know how to turn it off because I'm too smooth. What is this called? Is this Copilot? Is that do you guys is that Copilot? Is that what this is? This like super IntelliSense? This thing. Don't want it. Because you don't even know what I need, and it isn't that, so get out of my space. Ugh. Ugh. Horrible. I will figure out off stream how to get rid of that abomination. Okay. So we know we're gonna need what does this method do? Do we need the registry? Thanks, Future Untold. Good luck with the boxing game, and I'll see you next stream, which should be Thursday. Get the registry. Max entities is not a default parameter. What if I don't know? Okay. So I'll just pass it max entities. That's okay. This is ridiculous that I have to code and put this in Notepad because I don't want to keep spamming me with suggestions that are fucking wrong. Ugh. I'll figure it can't be that hard to turn off. Just have to figure out what it is. Okay, this is what it's called. It's called Bone Snapper. Snapper. Okay, then it will eventually need components, but I don't have those for now. And that should be good. Okay, now this should reference it, so it should now compile. I don't know what it's called. All right. No matching curly found. Oh yeah. I should blame Copilot for that. That I remember deleting that curly. This is going to be a really exciting feature to have actually because there are a ton of things that I could use here. Going back to every other game experiment that I've even worked on, I've wanted to have this. And I think you're right, because I don't think it's going to be that hard. I think I just need to. The hardest part will just be tying the two together in the front end and then add in like the UI and such for it. But no, it really won't be that hard. Okay. Then what else do we need to do? We're keep looking for wireframe renderer to trace it through all the other places we need to add it. Okay, now we're going to need our subsystem. Oh, this is one of those tricky things. Do I put it in the animation folder? Because it is certainly, yeah, it's called Bone Snapper. I think so. I think I should implement offset, though. I remembered it was quite painful to figure out where to put the origin and how to rotate it in Blender. Yeah. Agreed. So your engine is right-handed, Mika? What a boss move. I would have saved myself a lot of pain had I done that. Because Blender is absolutely the tool that I use the most for creating assets, and I'm having to jump through hoops all the time to get them into a left-handed coordinate system. Okay. Oh, okay, I can't stand. This is driving me freaking crazy. I'm gotta get rid of this. Disable code suggestions, VS Code. I'm going crazy trying to figure out how to turn off a particular suggestion whenever Microsoft calls it. How do I remove this feature so I don't have to mess with it again? Okay, go to File, Preferences, Settings, Text Editor, Suggestions. I can do that. Settings, Text Editor, Suggestion. Aha! Oh, okay. I just don't want suggestions at all. Off. Shows what they're showing. Ugh. Never. No. Yes. I feel like this has become like Edge. In Windows, you can't truly uninstall Edge, and now in VS Code, you can't uninstall suggestions. Oh my god. Is there a turn off suggestions button that I'm missing? Oh my god, it's just individually for every single one I've got to turn off? Are you serious? This is bullcrap. Maybe this is finally the push I can have to realize my dream and become a Vim developer. You think Vim is the last bastion of enshittification? This is ridiculous that I have to do this. I'm sure I don't. There's gotta be a thing I just missed that says turn off for all. Otherwise, why would anyone want to? Okay, let's try that. Okay, so I need to figure out if where are the names. Yeah, we are in the graphics namespace here. Oh, thank heavens, it's gone. Oh. Mika says it's right-handed Z up, same as Blender. And mine is left-handed positive Z forward. Y up. But I made a mistake with the UI coordinate system, the origin at the center with Y up. Oh. That's a stinker. How... Oh. Okay. So you're gonna work very similarly. I should probably think about testing. Okay, so we need an update and a build state. What else do we need? Let's find my other subsystems here. Maybe just yeah, okay, so this is gonna come up with the render state, which I don't actually need any render state. I think maybe I don't need a build state. I just need an update. Okay, so what is the flow of data here? I'm just going to take transforms theoretically by reference and update them. Yeah, okay. Oh, what does the mesh subsystem do with the animation system? That'll be really helpful to know. They want to do something very similar. Maybe right here. Ooh. Yeah. Okay, I see. When we first add an instance of the mesh, we grab the bones. Well, I'm going to be on a side quest now for a while. I don't think I'll get this done by Thursday, but it might be pretty close. But I'll be working on this on Thursday too. That'll be very exciting, Mika. Thank you for the phenomenal idea. And everyone, as always. So I'm wrapping up now. I try to end by 9 o'clock with the hopes of making it to the gym, which I have been slacking on lately. But I gotta keep doing that. Because, oh, I haven't even told you, aside from normal just fitness goals, I know I've talked about my trip, but I'm going to Japan in November with the hope of, so I'm going to Yakushima Island for the second half of the trip. And Yakushima Island has a 5 or 6 thousand-year-old cedar tree called Jomon Sugi. And I get to go hike it with my brother if I am diligent about going to the gym and doing the stair climber, because it is a let me remember exactly the details because I always exaggerate it in my mind when I'm telling people. Jomon Sugi hike. Okay, so it's a 13-mile round trip hike, taking 9 to 10 hours. And let's see, the elevation gain is 700 meters, and it's an all trails difficulty of hard. And I am not in good shape. So it's become very prudent that I wake up at 5 o'clock or 5:30 in the morning so I can do my stair climber to try to cram getting in peak physical shape before November so I can make it up to the top to see Jomosugi. But with that, thank you all for joining. I will be on the side quest for a while to try to get bone snapping implemented. And I will see you all Thursday night.